Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Let me see. Oh yeah, you guys can hear me. All right, great. Let's see. Hello, one and all. Well, last night I had a big what do you call it? A big video dump. I had to think about how I wanted to word that. I did throw a bunch of videos out there. Not a bunch of major stuff, but very short videos, just some stuff that I meant to put out there uh, at some point. Uh, just something to keep the narrative going, if you will. So that was the whole point of it. Okay. Let's see. Oh, okay, that works. That works. All right, very good. All right. Hmm. All right, right. Okay, you guys, I'm multitasking and probably not doing a great job of it, but I'm multitasking. Okay. There we go. All right, so let's see who's here. We got Janice Goodrich, Annie Bullard. Oh, wait a minute. Did I use the You know what? I got to make sure that I use the troll spray. Okay, yeah, that's very important. I think I'll just do a week this time, but yeah, I got to put the not stroll, the troll spray in there because we don't want to be interrupted with those. I wonder where those things come from. Well, you know what I'm talking about. Connie Balmer. Hey, Connie, you're in here today. Very good. I just noticed that. Okay, so let me put this. Why am I having trouble saying that? Troll spray. Okay. All right. So we'll go back a week. Now, if Connie disappears, we will know why. Um, Not that Connie is a troll, but maybe perhaps Connie Balmer may have um unsubscribed and then subscribed again. And sometimes that could be a problem. Let me see. So we'll go back 1 week and let's see if Connie Balmer disappears. Now, if Connie, well, you know what? You shouldn't because I manually inserted you. So, you know what I mean? I manually listed you as a subscriber. So, oh God. All right. Happy Wednesday, one and all. Awkward. Okay. Um, Happy Wednesday. Okay, so 1 week, that is done. Perfect. All right. Okay, so that should work. So I have the troll spray in place. Perfect. Okay. All right. So that works. That works. And let's make sure that works. Hello, 1960, Susie Q, Alma Andrews, Veronica Quick, uh, Megan Princess. I like that. Let me see who else is here. Okay. Oh my goodness, you're in the middle of a hurricane. Is that right? Well, please be safe. I hope you're all stocked up with everything because there was quite a run on the supermarkets. And President Biden said that he was going to make sure that they investigate any possible price gouging that may take place during this storm because, there are some people who want to use this as an excuse to come up, aka the fuel companies or whatever. So, yeah, anyway, yeah, just please be careful. All right. Scary thing, that storm, though. I tell you, it looks like a monster on the radar. It just looks like a big giant monster. Okay. I haven't seen anything that big and menacing and invasive since the Cambridges went to Cardiff. Okay, since the Prince and Princess of Wales went to Cardiff. Okay. Yeah, Florida's on high alert. Yeah, I've been watching all of that on television. Well, I've been following on the social media. Oh, let me see. Hi, Baron. Have you heard about the $200 million yacht Charles wants to purchase? Disgusting. People in the UK really struggling. He wants to use it to come to the US to improve relations. I, you know, I would, I'm, I haven't heard that. No, I haven't. But I do know that there was someone very wealthy who left a fortune to the Queen to build another yacht. So, as you guys know, the Royal Yacht Britannia was decommissioned. Royal Yacht, small ship, whatever you want to call it. It was decommissioned. It's in Edinburgh right now as a permanent exhibit. Um, and then, of course, Boris Johnson wanted to. It was a slip of the tongue. Boris Johnson wanted to um, launch a new Britannia. Now, the Britannia, the new version of the Britannia, would serve as like a floating, I guess, what would you call it? A floating embassy. It would be like a cultural center, an event center that they could float around the world. And of course, in the later years, the Queen didn't really sail to locations in the Britannia. She would fly and meet the Britannia, and then they would bring people on board and have like a host of events and cocktail parties and such so that they could celebrate all things Britain. And it was a great way to promote the country. However, it was very expensive. I mean, you could have just rented out a convention hall to do the same thing. I mean, people were really there to see the Queen. And I suppose the yacht was kind of like a tourist attraction. I mean, that's why I went. I've been on board the Britannia as the museum piece it is, and it was very interesting and all that kind of stuff. But just way too expensive. So I doubt if they would actually try to bring some. And really, Charles, he may be a lot of things, but I don't think he's that stupid to want to do something like that at this time. But I know Boris Johnson had the idea. Thank you so much for your comment. Let's see. Um, oh yeah. Okay, so me and my double entendres. I've watched way too many sitcoms, haven't I? Let me see. When that yacht was decommissioned, Anne cried but never shed one tear when Diana died. Really? Did Princess Anne cry as well? I know that was one of the rare occasions that the Queen cried, but Princess Anne, was not aware of that. I don't think, and mind you, Princess Anne was nearly kidnapped and pistol whipped, and yet she didn't shed a tear. She no cry. But you mean to tell me she would cry over a yacht? Wow. Although I find it hard to believe that anybody would pistol whip Afro Annie, but I said nearly. But apparently, she was able to stare down her would-be kidnappers. All she did was just lean forward and just bared her teeth at them, and they lost their courage and went away. I think is the way the story goes. Their knees buckled, the end of the barrel of the gun drooped, and she was quite safe after that point. Yeah, I think that is true. And refused to curtsy to her, which I believe she was obligated to do, but I'm not sure. Let me see. Thank you, Baron, for letting me back into the chat so I can comment. Really? How did that happen? I didn't know you were out actually. Oh, okay. I don't think I did anything, but I'm glad you're here. I don't know what's been up with the YouTube lately. Wait, what? Connie's not in the chat? Okay, okay. As I suspected, I believe that Connie, you need to check and make sure you are subscribed because I did put you on the list of approved people. And as I'm looking back, I don't see her. Okay. That is so weird. Okay. I see Connie here. So she has to be here, right? Oh well, we'll have to try to do it all over again. Sorry, Connie. All right, and Connie is there. Hey, B10. Okay, Audrey Teschner. All right, so I have spent about 13 minutes talking about not much of anything, so let us move on. Let me cheat this time. Hello, Lydia, Church Nelly, Connie Balmer, if you're here, Gwendolyn Daniels, Adrian, Annie, Joan, Fancy, Fatal, um, Mo, okay, Elaine, Myra, Verda, Carolyn, Joan, Sistren, Black Queen, um, Sistren again, and Mary and Baron. Baron, that sounds familiar. Okay. Wow, Connie is not here. That is so strange. Let me see. Baron, Connie is not in the chat. Thank you so much, Black Queen. You know what? I tell you what. I will remove that restriction thing that I just put on, but I guess you all have to watch for the trolls. That's the only thing I can do right now. I don't understand why she's not in here, but I know for sure that. Actually, you know what? Let me double check that before I say what I know for sure. So these are. Oh, you know what? No, Connie is in the approved list. She is in the approved list. But when I did the thing with the troll spray, then she disappeared. Okay, but I'm looking at it. She's on the approved list. So, okay, I don't know how that happened then. Um, but tell you what, I will just turn off the troll spray and we will see what happens. You guys just have to make sure you watch for the trolls. Um, Let me see. Subscriber, 1 week. Okay, I'm going to take that away. Okay. All right, you guys, there you go. Watch out for the trolls. This will be fun though, but it's enough enough mods here. You guys can handle it. There you go. All right, Connie Bomber, see if you are back into the chat. The troll spray is off. I mean, if I had to choose, if I had to say, aha, if I had to decide in a perfect world, I'd rather have Connie Balmer than, I'm sorry, I would rather have trolls than not have Connie Balmer. So, Connie Balmer, welcome back. Oh, Alma Andrews. Um, thank you so much for the super chat, and thank you so much for watching Royal Sussex, and thank you, Black Queen, for the super chat and reminding us that Connie Balmer was not here. Thank you. You are indeed a friend. As a matter of fact, it is Wednesday. It is Prince Spaghetti Day, and it's also the official Royal Sussex Friendship Day. So thank you for being a friend. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. And if I threw a party, invited everyone I knew, well, that'd probably be about 3 people. I think I know about 3 people. Um, okay. Now I'd have been sitting here hemming and hawing and everything else, and we ain't seen slide the first. So let me just get that going. And anyway, you guys just please watch for those trolls. And because they're lurking out there with their little beady eyes and hairy necks and um what do you call it, and their privilege cards and stuff. So just keep an eye out on them. Okay, so that's that one. And let me go ahead and do the other one while I can. Oh, did I get number 1 and number 2 mixed up? Looks like I did. Huh. Or did I? Anyway, it doesn't matter. So, gosh, my lips are dry. I don't want to crack my lips again. So, Connie, can we ask you a question? When you disappear like that, where do you go? Is it like another world, like another planet or something like that? When because I remember when somehow, you know what? Where is Anna Espinosa? Did I do something again that she's not on here? Because sometimes I do stuff and it's like I send people to the others, to what is it, the dark side of the moon? It's like all of a sudden you never see or hear from them again. So Anna Espinosa hasn't been here for a while. And I wonder if it was something I said or done, or was it like me hitting one of them dots on the side there? And you know what I mean? But anyway, welcome back. Glad you're here. I mean, sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. So I'm going to start with this. I meant to talk about royal cheering, and that's what I'm going to talk about for the first part of today's Royal Sussex. The royal cheering. The royal cheering. Anyway, the royal cheering. Oh, man. Okay. Focus, Baron. Concentrate. The royal cheering. The royal cheering. The way that the royal cheering are treated in this world is rather odd. And I do believe that, hello, Ivy here. I do believe Ivy has spoke about this in the past, where the royal children seem to have a rather bizarre and what seems to teeter on less than ideal upbringing. I'm trying to choose my words carefully. I don't want to say the A word, but their upbringing seems to be a bit odd and out of place in modern society. Amen. And so, with that, I myself, in spite of all of my criticisms for the parents, and there are many, um, as we know, Prince Philip, when he went to that, was it an all boys school? He found himself bullied and abused. And then, of course, Prince Charles has even written about how he has been bullied and abused when he was in school. And this idea that the future king is sitting right there in class with me doesn't seem to impress the other children. if anything, it seems to enrage them to the point where they become somewhat aggressive toward those kids, almost as if someone has dared them. And so, poor George, poor George, his way of dealing with it, according to an author or writer or reporter, whatever, his way of dealing with it was to remind them, hey, my father is going to be king, so you better watch yourself, buddy. And I will say I can believe that to be true. However, I don't know it for a fact. I wasn't there, none of us were there, but it is just alarming because it really confirms a lot of things that a lot of people have already said, and that is that it is a rather weird situation for those kids, that they're being pushed out into the cameras, being pushed at the reporters, being pushed out on the royal stage at an age when other kids are just being kids. So yeah, I am concerned for them. Um, it makes me sad actually, because it's like, to be the child of a wealthy and influential person enough, but at least when you're going to those private schools, you have that in common with most of the kids there. The ones that really are in trouble are the ones who are there on some scholarship, and then of course word gets rounded your parents aren't doing so well. But for the future, meaning George or any of the royal children, it's just like, um, I guess, enough to cause the other children to become resentful and perhaps want to challenge you or bully you or whatever. So, um, yeah, that is just something that a lot of people have considered, have thought about, have spoken about, and it just I just want to say I find this believable. I find it very believable, and George always appeared uncomfortable on those public engagements, painfully uncomfortable. As yeah, it just always appears that way. So again, I don't want to say anything that is going to make a bad situation worse. I definitely don't want to do that. But it is the conversation, and considering some of the things that they've said about the Sussex children, like this idea that they are going to be spoiled brats, and of course, right now, the media is being very abusive toward the Sussex children, if you ask me, in my opinion, because of this idea. I mean, let's look at Lily Diana. As an infant, she was already being bullied by the media over her name. I mean, this innocent infant child born into a life that she, you know, just by chance found herself in, was being bullied by the British press, was being othered by the British press as an infant, by somewhat, I guess, creating an atmosphere where it seemed like a 90 something year old woman was going to war with an infant child. And so, as bad as this is for George, I have to say it is that much more disturbing for Lily Diana, because there's not the infrastructure in this world to keep her safe and to keep her away from harm the way that there is for the other children in the family, or should I say, the other senior royal children in the family, um, or children of the senior royals, I should say. There's not that system in place to keep her safe, but yet Lily Diana and of course Archie, both of them have been targeted by the media, and now it seems as though they have turned their gaze toward the Wells, aka Cambridge children. It seems as though they have turned their twisted gaze toward them, and I'm not happy that that's happening. I'm rather disappointed, and I find it really sad. So, um, it really just confirms a lot of things that we had already spoke about. So, I'm gonna check and see what your thoughts are about that very soon. Okay, let me see here. Let me see. Prince George tells classmate, "My father will be king, so you better watch yourself." Very sad, but very, very believable. I just can't think that a an author would take liberty with something like that if he did not believe it to be true, especially if it's someone who lives in the UK. I just find it hard to believe that they would take that liberty if they didn't believe it to be true. Who owns a bloody name? It is in the Bible to own a name. I'm sorry, is it in the Bible to own a name? How arrogant and rude of that mafia to go after an angel newborn over a name. Well, yeah, but they did. They could and they did. And we witnessed that. And now, like I said, it seems as though they have turned their twisted gaze toward uh, the other kids. Let me see. George does not look as brave as Charlotte. She is saying her lines very well. Yeah, yeah, very true. Charlotte seems to have that confidence and even encourages her brother. Let me see. As a matter of fact, let me see here. Okay. To fellow classmate during a fight at school playground tussle, Prince George, eldest child of William, Prince of Wales, and Catherine, Princess of Wales, said, "My dad will be king, so you better watch out. My dad will be king, so you better watch out." Wow. And of course, they had the cartoon, and even Dr. Scholler. Dr. Scholler was one of the most vocal people attacking HBO, I believe it was HBO, about this cartoon. How dare they, um, I guess, humiliate or insinuate or whatever about the children. How dare they do that? Dr. Scholler said, and she was very quickly rose to their defense because, again, these are children. Doesn't matter whose kids they are, these are other people's children. They are children. And so she was very quick to come to George's defense. But now, I don't know if this is going to like open up a floodgate so that they can really start reporting on those kids. But you do know that they do have the intention to, report on them, and they will. And whose fault is that? Whose fault that suddenly the press feels that it's okay? I am going to blame their parents. Will and Kate, because of how lackluster and dull they are, have turned to their kids, in my opinion, to somehow bolster their image as being this nuclear family, this middle class family that's just like everybody else, right? This middle class family that is just like everybody else, save for the private jets and helicopters. But other than that, they're just like everybody else's kids. And of course, for primary residence, and of course, the option to move into Windsor Castle, 1,000-year-old castle, the longest occupied castle in the world. I mean, it's still a home, even if they're not there all the time. But that is where they're moving to, just like the rest of the kids in class, as I say sarcastically. Let's see. Ladarius Martin says they claim kids are off limit as long as it is the Wales kids, but they will go after the Sussex children with no problem. That is so true. That is very true. They have othered and dehumanized the Sussex children time and time again, and it doesn't seem to cause any anxiety amongst the rest of the reporters. They're just silent about it. Um, and of course, the royal family, they have nothing to say either. I mean, a form of abusing the Sussex children right now is the fact that their names have, or should I say, their titles have not been listed by any official palace websites or any other like real documents or anything. You don't see them listed as a prince and princess. So they are being othered from what, 5,000, 6,000 miles away. They're being othered by their own family. I mean, that is their family. The genes, the DNA of both the Queen and Philip are coursing through their blood, just like their mother's side of the family, but they are being othered. I wonder why. What is it about them that seems to trigger this othering from the royal family? Pamela Porter, by the way, thank you for your comment. Pamela Porter says, I believe this is going to be another situation where the spare is better suited to the role than the heir. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Um, Very common for that household that the spare is usually ideally suited, and the heir, well, if it was left up to them, let's see. Beverly Isidore says Prince George is like his mom and dad. Princess Charlotte is like Diana, and Prince Louis is like his Uncle Harry, Uncle Prince Harry. Yeah, that appears to be the case. Although, although Harry obviously did not have those two as his parents, so Harry at least had Diana's input in his life, but those other two, I think that is where they're going to diverge in terms of their personality traits. Okay, so right here, if you guys remember from the Jubilee, um, I'm not going to comment. I'm just going to let you see what happened that day. I'll let you figure out what's going on here, but it's hard to look at. It is very hard to look at. And I'll leave that to the body language experts. But I will comment on William. Even he's feeling uncomfortable. I mean, look at how he's pursed his lips. A tough time, a tough moment for everybody in the family. And let's remember, these are children, and there are possibly hundreds of cameras, phones, media, hundreds of people. I can't remember the exact location or the circumstances, but possibly hundreds of people gazing in their direction, just like the rest of the kids at school, as I say sarcastically, just like the rest of the kids at school. And then this, of course, as I said before, just like the other kids at school, every time we go someplace, we all hop onto dad's private helicopter because everybody at the kids' school has a father and a mother who use a helicopter, as Petal would say, like a car. That's like their Uber. Everybody at school has that. With of course cameras prying in on the situation. Everybody's dad had some hedges planted so that people couldn't see them coming and going from the helicopter. But there you go. I mean, you can see there's a plant. Somebody's peering through a plant to get that image. But yeah, that's just like everybody else at school. So is it any wonder that things are so odd for, or possibly, like I said, we don't know for sure, but is it any wonder things are so possibly odd for them um, wherever they go? Like I say, I think that the photos speak for themselves, so it doesn't need a lot of input. You guys see what I see, and it just is what it is. But the expert on child development, who I have referred to as Dr. Joyce Jazz Hands, the expert on child development knows what she's doing. So I mean, it took her 10 years to come up with 5 questions that she got from somebody else, but leave it to Dr. Joyce Jazz hands. She knows what she's doing. No one is in trouble. It's just a matter of how you turn your hands, and everything will be okay. I promise. Nothing to look at, folks. Everything's going to be okay. Dr. Joyce Jazz, the expert on child care development, has everything under control. So they'll be all right. Okay. Let me get rid of Dr. Joyce Jazz Hands. All right. And let me get over here to a couple more of your comments. I'm just going to go all the way down to the very last. Miss P Talk says it's a shame they are forced to be in public eye at such a young age. It is disturbing, isn't it? It is disturbing. And of course, this is a life that they didn't ask for. This is just something that happened by chance. Thank you. I wonder, how does William and Kate feel when George is being bullied at school, since they send their staff and their royal reporters to the British tabloids and media to bully, insult Meghan? You know what? They probably disassociate the two. I mean, it's just the bullying stuff from them comes natural, and yeah, I don't think they think about it. I don't think they care, as long as it's not them that's being hurt. But when you make a deal with the devil, at some point you have to pay up. And the tabloids, that is truly agents of the devil. And since they're doing the deal with the devil is going to expect to be paid in full. And sometimes that does include the children. There's going to come, like during the funeral. Remember, they wanted the children to be at the funeral. They wanted to have those images of the children at grandma's funeral. I mean, grandma had several funerals. They could have just have gone to the one at the St. George Chapel. It would have been more intimate, because that particular service, the internment service, at least that was with the household staff and people that they're accustomed to seeing. But instead, they took them to the Westminster Abbey, where, the entire world was there to watch things happen. So, let them tell it. Of course, everybody in the world was watching at the same time. But I think they could have, like, really skipped one or two of those places that they have taken the kids. But no, the press wanted them front and center they were eventually. Thank you so much for your comment. Joan Commonwealth says, you are uh, let me see. You're only demoted when you are dead. At the bottom of the page still means they have to acknowledge them. Oh, I know what you're talking about. The thing about them being moved to the bottom of the page. Um, yeah, I don't think it matters. They have to push down upon the Sussexes to try to get people to lift them up, and it really shows the desperation of the people in that family, that they have to continually do these ridiculous stunts to try to get people to acknowledge them as relevant and viable for the future. Like what you see right there on the screen, that is the future of the United Kingdom walking through the grass, is that family right there. They are supposed to uphold the values of everyone in the country. Why? Because everyone in the United Kingdom routinely flies on a private helicopter. And by the way, you guys remember they were saying that, well, they said the Queen said it, but who knows where it comes from. But right there, the whole family on one helicopter, this is the thing that keeps some people awake at night, because um, given the line of succession, God forbid, but that could lead to King Harry. So again, they seem to like to take their chances. I'll just say that. They seem to like to take their chances a lot. All right. But that's the height of arrogance. When you're really arrogant, you just don't think that bad things will ever happen to you. You'll cause bad things to happen to other people, but you just don't believe bad things will ever happen to you. Oh, you went over there and took a look, huh? Wow, you're braver than me. I was depending upon hearsay, but um, I suppose it was like what everybody said it was. They're at the bottom of the page. Anyway, thank you so much, Deborah Robinson, for telling us about that. And let me see. Ladarius Martin says the great grandchildren should have been at the funeral and not in the procession, especially when the reason was to try to make Harry and Meghan look irrelevant, but the world still was watching them. Yeah, part of their upbringing is, let's face it, a bunch of nannies and nurseries and all that kind of stuff. And so that would have just been one more situation where they weren't there. There was no logical reason why they were at the funeral other than the press told them, you better have them there. Otherwise, they could have just simply, waited until the procession reached St. George Chapel, and and then they could have participated then. As a matter of fact, if you guys were watching, it was so heartbreaking because that was the place where Charlotte actually broke down into tears were when they were at the St. George Chapel. So yeah, they could have just simply waited until that point. It was a space more familiar to them and everything, and with people who were more familiar, but not my call. I'm just saying, I'm just a layperson. I don't know what's best for other people's kids, but it just seemed rather odd. And it almost, I don't know, it just seems like the press were dictating that they should be there. And so they were. That just seems like that was something that the press wanted. And they decided to do as they were told. So anyway, let's move on here. All right. Now, on a lighter note, as a matter of fact, let's do a break beat for this one, shall we? I told you guys yesterday, I said, did when that guy confronted Prince Charles, did you see the way he did that Charles Nelson Riley face? And I know some of you guys are not familiar with Charles Nelson Riley. Maybe you're a little younger and, oh, I'm sorry, Legs, you had a super chat. Why do the Royal Rotor keep trying to get the the uh the royal family? Yeah, I don't know. I think because they're feeling insecure and they want to go back to the glory days of empire. That's what it is. They want to go back to those glory days of empire. But anyway, sorry about that, Lex. Thank you so much for the super chat and watching Royal Sussex. So, as before mentioned, Charles Nelson Riley, he was a regular on the Tonight Show. Well, Prince Charles seemed to be rather jovial up until the point that man asked him, well, you know what? Why don't I let the guy speak for himself? Shall I? Maybe you've seen it, maybe you haven't, but let's do this anyway.
Charles, while we struggle to heat our homes, we have to pay for your parade. The taxpayer pays 100 million for you, and what for? Needham Renin, not my king. Charles, while we struggle to heat our homes, we have to pay for your parade. The taxpayer pays 100 million for you, and what for? Needham Renin, not my king.
Didn't I tell you? Charles Nelson Riley. Oh, wait a minute. Yes, not my king. I didn't want to mess up the ending there. I was very proud of that. Not my king. Okay, there you go. So, yeah, Charles Nelson Riley, back in the 70s, he was on everything from, I want to say, The Love Boat to, was he ever on Love American Style? And of course, Hollywood Squares, um, and some of those other variety shows and game shows or whatever. Had a very quick wit, self deprecating humor. And of course, um, on occasion, he turned the corners. He turned the corners of that mouth down. And when I saw Charles give him that look when that guy called him out, I was just like, oh my God, is Charles Nelson Riley back from the dead? But in even the names are the same. Charles Nelson Riley, King Charles III. So yeah, I thought it was a hoot. And so yeah, and let me give you another view of it. There you go. Um, oh man, Charles Nelson Riley down, right? I love that. When I saw it, I tell you, my mind works in such a weird way, and instantly I was just like, Charles Nelson Riley. Kathy Bryan says, poor Harry didn't know which way to go or accomplish that task, but soon as he became dad, he knew exactly what to do. We don't do much for ourselves, but when it comes to our kids, we get stronger. Amen to that. Thank you, Catherine Bryant. Okay. Enters the what do you call it? The spam callers. Always at this hour. Let's see. It appears Charles may be trying to use his Dutch to bail him out about not giving the Sussexes children their birthright. He may have. Oh, yes, I saw that. Uh, they just removed, well, by 2023, some of the minor royals are going to lose their titles, right? I just saw that earlier. And I thought about that. I'm like, oh my God, what timing? You know what I mean? What timing? This may give him the license to strip them of their titles or whatever. But yeah, I saw that. Although I have to say, those kids were born prince and princess, whether or not he likes it. The only way that that would not be is if he didn't survive long enough to become king. But since he did, that's the way it's supposed to be. So, um, I don't know what to say, but that's the way it's supposed to be. Baron, did you hear about the fuel spill in the Baltic Sea? Putin bombed the. Yes, I saw that. We talked about it yesterday, I think. And this is going to drive up the fuel prices for Europe. Putin said that he was going to make sure that they were dealt with for supporting Ukraine. Annie Bennett, 4 months you've been a member of Royal Sussex? Congratulations, and thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Wow, thank you. I am so happy for you. I'm so happy for me. I'm happy for all of the squaddies. Thank you. Let me see. Itma Nina Albertus has a super sticker. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching Royal Sussex, and happy Wednesday to you. Okay. Let me see. That is a good point. The Danish is not the British royal family. The sheer size of UK requires a much larger family, and the expectations on the family is much more. That is so true because whether or not people like it, the British royal family, they are the ones that want to make sure that every every detail of contemporary British life involves the glow or the touch of the royals, whether it's to cut a ribbon at a supermarket or to unveil a plaque at a hospital ward, right? I mean, here in the United States, I don't know how we get along without having the royal family do those things for us, but somehow we mutter on, don't we? So, thank you for your comment, Baron. I looked again at the website just now. It doesn't look like they were demoted. Harry is still in the correct line of succession. They just moved them on the page. British media is making up lies again. Well, 1960, that's why I didn't go and look at it, because I figured it was much to do about nothing, right? Just like the thing with Harry's uniform, right? Harry's uniform. Well, oh, poor Harry. Harry is so sad. Harry is this. Harry is that. Oh, they took the Queen's cipher off his uniform, only for a very eagle-eyed squatty to point out the fact that Harry has worn his uniform without the Queen's cipher on his shoulder, epaulets or whatever before. So what difference does it make? But only and let me add this too. Only some eagle-eyed person with some very nasty thoughts, meaning there was some type of leaking from inside the royal family. Someone within the royal household informed the press that he wasn't wearing those ciphers on his shoulder, because given all of what was going on at the time and the fact that Harry um Harry gave like a, I hate to call it a performance, but he did. He gave a performance of a lifetime that day. Oh, by the way, let me get both of these Charleses off the screen. He gave, oh no, that's the wrong direction. Oh gosh. Anyway, let me put something else up. He gave them a performance of a lifetime. By the way, there are no leaks in Montecito. Harry walked in a way that, like I told you guys yesterday, that my aunt came to bring me coffee. She ordered some coffee for me. She told me to pick out whatever you want and I'll order it. So I did. And I got Javalia, right? I had to choose one of the more expensive items on the menu, right? And then I got some other stuff like, the regular stuff. But anyway, she was like even talking about Harry in his uniform. So whatever they say, whatever they're thinking about trying to humiliate the Sussexes, Harry is always going to run faster. He is going to jump higher. He's always going to look better. He's going to argue the best case. He's always going to be more knowledgeable than his brother, who is supposed to be the future of the country. And that's just a fact. And it bothers them, meaning his brother, and then anybody who kisses up to him. It bothers them that Harry is just better in practically every way. Yes, the other one may have the titles and all the accoutrements that comes with it, but Harry is got something that William will never have, and that's the fact that he's Harry. And I will hedge my bets on Harry any day of the week, because he just does everything better, and people like him. People like him for himself, not for his title or status or anything like that. He is just naturally the living legacy of his mother, and William just doesn't have that. William doesn't have it, whatever it is. He just doesn't have it. So too bad for him. But he and his wife, they deserve each other, and yeah, that I'll just leave it at that. They deserve each other, and I'm glad they got each other. I'm glad they got anything for that matter. But I'm glad they got each other. They really are two of a kind. And all I can say is best of luck to them both. So, where are we at here? Plus, Harry is the Ginger Avenger. Don't forget that. Ginger Avenger. So, okay, let me do this. Oh, there we go. You know what I was looking for. I'm just gonna let this play in the background while while I um I look at some of your comments, right? Just because I didn't talk myself into it. Just because I didn't talk myself into it. I'm going to take the music away because it gets a little sad. But there we go. Yeah, so there we go. Our Harry. Now, let me go over to take a look at a couple of your comments. And I'm always proud to say that, our Harry. So, comments. All people in line to the throne must be descendants of Sophia of Hanover. Sophia of Hanover. God, you know what? Refresh my tea. Who is Sophia of Hanover? The Hanoverians, that's the German line of the royal family. And was Sophia Queen Victoria's grandmother, perhaps? Right, I think. Let me see. Iris Demonia says, thank you, everybody. I will be better soon as possible. In Jesus' name, amen. Iris, I didn't know you weren't feeling well. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you feel better soon. Okay. The succession had not changed. What they changed was the listing of senior royals, as Edward and Sophie have moved to Harry and Meghan's spot in the listing. Right, because let's not forget, Edward and Sophie, Rambolina and Sophie, they are supposed to be the replacements for the Sussexes. Yuck. Anyway, yeah. Good luck with that. Thank you so much, Deborah Robinson, for your comments. Look at our Harry. Look at our Harry. If he didn't exist, you would have to go over to Central Casting and do like a big talent search.
Prince Harry is a young man.
Oh, I forgot about
grown up not just with good looks and also royal privilege.
Uh-oh.
Prince Harry is a young man who has grown up not just with good looks and also royal privileges. It would have been easy for him to choose a life of ease and leisure. Instead, he chose a more difficult path. And by so doing, he has become an example to millions of others. It is a path that fully embraces the noblest traditions of service to his country and to his fellow human beings. On the one hand, Prince Harry has bravely followed the tradition of generations of British royals before him by serving his country in the military. He has been an army officer in the British Army since 2006 and deployed with the Household Cavalry Regiment Battle Group to Helmand Province in 2008. During his time there, he served in the front lines, directing British and American aircraft onto enemy targets. He has shown that he knows what it means to lead by example, even when it means possibly paying the ultimate price.
Okay. You know what? I could not let Colin Powell get past us, so. Oh, I'm sorry, Gina. I didn't mean to do that. I just talked up Harry's uniform, and Here we are. But he just makes me very proud. I mean, I just feel like he's part of my family. And it's something about Harry that just makes me proud. I feel invested in his success because of that, because he just makes me proud. It's like I feel like I owe that to Diana, because Diana just seemed like part of the family, like that distant relative that you cheer for. And because of that, I just feel obliged to, cheer for Harry. So, you guys, I thought if I kept the sound low that it wouldn't like work up those emotions again, but I mean, you guys can go back and watch it, right? Oh, thank you, Catherine Bryant. And you guys be wondering sometimes, like, Baron seems to be up late tonight. He just posted a video. Sometimes when I start editing, I just can't stop. I'm just like, oh, what if I do this? Or what if I do that? And then next thing you know, I'm done. But it just takes hours sometimes. And I always feel more creative late at night. So that is how those things happen. All right, you guys. So sorry to sorry to pull those emotions out of you again like that, but feel free to go back and watch it sometimes. I mean, I do. My aunt and I watched it yesterday while we were talking over that delicious coffee that she brought for me. She said something about Harry's uniform. I said, Harry's uniform, let's watch it. So we did. Okay, so we're going to change gears once again. Let's get over here. There we go. William, the new Prince of Wales, only knows a couple of words of Welsh. Now, if you guys remember in the movie The Crown, they had that big thing about Charles learning the Welsh language and how he did that. As a matter of fact, it was one of those things in The Crown that helped to bolster the image of the Prince of Wales, Prince Charles. And so oh, wait a minute, what's that? Let me see. Hanover would have been queen after Anne, but she died due to succession crisis. The Act of Settlement states that only descendants of hers can become sovereign. Okay. Okay. Now, is that the one that that Queen Anne had accused of plotting to kill her, and she was so shocked and so what do you call it? So outraged by this insinuation, not to mention startled that she just dropped dead, that Anne was hoping that she could outlive her, and Anne has sent her a letter. Queen Anne sent her a letter and said, you're trying to kill me, such and such and such and such. And she looked at that letter and started shaking and just collapsed. Is that the one? Because I do remember that story. As a matter of fact, just to be honest, that did kind of tickle me a bit when I when I when I heard that story. My twisted mind, that kind of tickled me. I thought I was going to scream. I laughed so hard when I heard that. Huh? You thought I was dead by now, huh? You're trying to kill me. And the next thing you know, she's like so upset when she read this letter accusing her that she dropped dead. So if that's the one you're speaking of, I just want to say that was one of my favorite royal royal intrigue stories, was that one right there, because that is too funny. But only I would think something as twisted as that was funny. Okay, so anyway, thank you for your comment. And I am all over the place today, you guys. Sorry about that. That's not for me. Mystic Toxin says, Uh, oh, welcome, Mystic Toxin. Okay, Michael Miller, the Unroyal Zombie family are so jealous of Prince Harry, his looks, his swagger, his taste in biracial black women, and the fact that he told them to step off. He will make his own, what is that? He will make his own thoughts. I love that. Yeah, well, that I think they just don't want to reward him for having um, the what do you call it? The spirit of self determination. They just don't want to reward his ingenuity. Excuse me, his resolve. They'd rather try to tear him down. I think. But thank you for that. Yes, thank you, Mystic Toxin. Please hit the like button. Please don't forget to like, share, etc., etc. Now let's get a little messy here. Um, I don't know how wise it is that they always go and gather up those school kids, and then all of a sudden, one day you just sitting in class, and next thing you know, you got some big face all stuck up in yarn. See what I mean? I would be terrified if I mean, if notice how the one kid with the flag, his eyes are looking down at the ground. You see that? The one kid's eyes is looking down at the ground. All of a sudden, he's out there in the cold, and William's got his big face all stuck up in his. See that? See how he's looking down? Wouldn't you? I would avert my eyes if I had that big face all stuck up in my face. Like, for instance, right here. Look at that. Why is it so necessary for him to push that big face, pointy nose, and butter teeth all up in everybody else's face? He always doing that. He always meddling, ain't he? Always sticking that big face up in somebody else's face. I mean, if you're going to do that, for God's sakes, go and get some Crest White strips, right? I mean, it's just a lot of face. That's a lot of face to be putting up in other people's face, especially children. I wouldn't want to know that my kids went to school and then all of a sudden they had that face all stuck up in their face. Don't know where that face has been. I mean, and then of course, as Harry is the living legacy, the embodiment of Diana, I think William is the embodiment of Cookie, the Queen Mother. The resemblance is striking. I think I just struck gold. And then, of course, with all that face, with a little hair up on the top, it's just like looking at one of those sequoia trees. You know, it's like when you standing at those sequoia trees, you see all this tree trunk and you got to stretch your head all the way back to see the leaves up on top. Well, I mean, that's the same as when you're looking at that face. Told you I was about to get kind of petty, but it is. It's just a unusual amount of space between his chin and his hairline, just like there's an unusual amount of space between this tree trunk and the leaves at the top. Just being petty right now, y'all. And then of course, there's another kid. She's not sure what to think about all that face looking at her, so she turns away. It's hard to miss it because there's so much face, but she's doing the best she can not to gaze directly. Hey, Anna Espinoza. Yes, it is in the genes. Or maybe they both like butter. And look at this poor kid. She don't know what to think. She's like, my God, that face. How much face is that? That's more face than one person ought to have. But yes, it is a lot of face up in somebody else's face. So yeah, and again, butter. I can't believe it's not butter. I can't believe it's not butter. So, I guess to the children of the royal realms, um, you may find yourself enjoying your day at school only to find out at some point that you all are going to be rounded up and you're going to be forced to look at that face. I know. I thought I would get a little petty. Now, you guys, I want to share something with you. I've been really, really petty. Now, let's get into something that I find so much fun to remember. Now, Meghan and Harry greeted by crowds at Cardiff Castle. Let me see. This was January the 18th, 2018. Britain's Prince Harry and his American fiancee Meghan Markle visited Wales on their third official joint appearance since announcing their engagement last November. Um, Guess who else been to Cardiff Castle, as I've mentioned so many times? That's me, looking like a country squire with my flat cap on, standing right there at the walls. And look at me. Ain't I got a lot of nerves talking about a big face? Look at that big face. Look at that big, pretty face with all them gorgeous cheekbones. I am very proud of those cheekbones, by the way. I am very, very proud of those cheekbones. I get those cheekbones from my mother. But look at me talking about somebody's big face up in other people's face. And there I am with my big face in the camera. And then, of course, I'm pretty sure somebody probably yelled, would somebody help that poor old black man over there trying to take that selfie? Somebody help that old black man. He can't seem to hold the camera straight. That's me trying to do a selfie. And I'm wearing that old nylon Sears Roebuck's windbreaker with the snaps from top to bottom. I promise you, it's got a big butterfly collar. That is an old Sears Roebuck's windbreaker. It is fireproof. It is waterproof. It will not degrade. That's how long I've had that thing. It's an old Sears Roebuck's windbreaker with the snaps from top to bottom. Okay, not bad for over 50, right? Not bad, not bad. Okay. Uh and now this is Cardiff. That is that little street leading up to this gateway. Mind you, this was 2018. And then take a look here. That is the inner part of the castle. So I saw this tower up on the hill at the Cardiff Castle. And I said, wow, that would be interesting. I should go up all them steps so that I can get up there and see what's up there. I mean, like a kid, I want to see what's up there. So I went all up and look, I'm only showing part of the steps. There are more steps, but I kind of cut the image off. But then when I got up to the top, winded, out of breath, then I turned around and looked to see where I just come from. Right. So, all right, take a look here. Now, that tower, that's just part of the climb. When you go through that threshold, there is an inner courtyard. And then that inner courtyard, that is where the flag is at the top. See it? The flag. So I had to go up all them steps, go into the room on the right. There's nothing in there. Then go up to the top so you can see what's inside that room. There was absolutely nothing up there. I was so exhausted by the time I got up those wooden steps. My thighs felt like jello. And this is what's at the top. All that climbing just to see this. Yep, that is the old top of the castle tower. That's all they have up there. If I would have known that all of this is what I was going to see after climbing up those steps, I don't think I would have bothered. Ladarius, you're on fire today. What else you got for us? Oh, that's for somebody else? Okay, I'll move on. And this is the other part of the castle. So there are rooms in the castle, But not in that tower. There's another structure inside the grounds of the castle. Beautiful, ornate terracotta fireplace. This is the formal dining room. And through this threshold, you can see a winding staircase. They use lots of terracotta. And here's Meghan and Harry back on January the 18th, right? And this is me. I think this was in May of 2018. And you see the dining room? Take a look at the ceiling up there. See the ceiling in the middle? That's where they are right there. You can see the chandelier here, and you can see the chandelier there. So I was so excited. I'm just like, wow, I'm standing in the same room where Harry and Meghan stood. Huh? Huh? I was so excited. I'm just like, oh my God, Harry and Meghan, we're here. So, by the way, you guys, I know, please don't get overcome with joy, but you are the first ones, Myra. You are the first ones, Connie Balmer. You are the first ones that get a chance to see these photos. Church Nelly. Y'all are the first ones to get a chance to see my home movies. I mean, my vacation photos. So yeah, again, just so I could rub it in, I was in the same room where Harry and Meghan were months before. And here's the library. There's the library. Now listen, my African American friends, it's library, not berry. It's not the library. I know how y'all want to do it, but it's library. Library. It's the library, not the library. So don't ask me again. Please don't ask me again. Don't ask me. It's library, not library, right? So don't ask me again. Oh man. And so this is where those rooms are. You see there? That's where the rooms are here. You have this beautiful structure inside of the walls of the castle. And this is another part of Wales right there. I think that's like a convention center or stadium or something. I don't remember. And this is a beautiful ceiling. This is like the I think they called it the Moorish room or the Asian room or something like that. And then this is also part of the castle. Beautiful, right? And there is Harry and Meghan inside of that very same room. See there? You can see but I'm going to tell you guys what I love about Cardiff. You want to know what I love about Cardiff? Cardiff is where I've seen the Duchess of Sussex get her very first curtsy. This lady was nice enough to curtsy for Prince Harry's fiance. Also, there was that gentleman in Cardiff who gave Meghan a kiss on the back of her hand. So I thought that was very nice. So that is why I love Cardiff. It's not because of my trip to Cardiff, but it's because of the very warm way that they welcomed the future Duchess of Sussex. Look at there. Look at the big crowd. And I'm not the only one with the amazing cheekbones. Look at that guy standing behind Meghan. Look at his cheekbones. I'm not the only one with the amazing cheekbones. I guess it's a Welsh thing. Maybe I'm part Welsh. Now, Connie, I fought for you to be here. I fought for you to be here. Oh man, look at the warm welcome they've received from the children of Cardiff. Isn't that sweet? That's why I love Cardiff. Rockstar welcome for Prince Harry and Meghan Markle in Cardiff. And there it says Prince Harry and Meghan Markle delight crowds in Cardiff. Yeah, it was quite the occasion. I remember like watching it. This is like when I was learning about Meghan and I didn't know anything about her, and I was just like really happy to see the way people were interacting and everything. So uh let me see. Okay, so let us do this. We're going to change gears a bit. We're going to leave Cardiff for now. We're going to leave my amazing cheekbones behind. Okay, this is an important distinction. The letter patent weren't changed, so any decision about titles today is about taking away, not giving. Archie and Lilibet are already prince and princess, something that even the right-wing broadsheets already acknowledged, and that is very true. They are already prince and princess. As I said some time ago, Charles would have to actively do something. I saw that out the corner of my eye. Charles would have to actively do something to remove those titles away from those babies. It's not a matter of him giving them something. It would more or less be, actually, more him taking their birthright away from them. Harry and Meghan's children technically became Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet. The late Queen's death means Archie and Lilibet are entitled to the HRH title until King Charles alters protocols. And I believe that was, yes, that's the Telegraph saying that. So again, Charles would have to display a huge amount of pettiness to make this not be so. So, um, there you have it. Let me see. Oh, really? That's interesting. We were told we were told all our lives we were Greek. My daughter did her DNA test and we are from Egypt. We were related to King Farouk. So we figure that's why my dad ran as well. Oh, okay. Very interesting. Thanks for sharing that. Okay. All right, let's go then. And so there you have it. According to Wikipedia, and you know they know everything. But no, it's just they have issued the official information as it stood before this threat to remove the children's titles. So that's the way it's supposed to go. Now, making history in DC, playing James Madison's crystal flute, Lizzo has actually played a 200-year-old crystal flute. Yes, that means just like rock candy, if she would have dropped it, 200 years of history would have smashed to the floor. I have no idea where the flute came from, but apparently it belonged to James Madison, who was one of the presidents. Was he a president, or was he one of the signatories to the whatever that thing was, the Constitution, the preamble, Declaration of Independence? I don't remember, but anyway, Madison. But there she is holding that crystal flute that just happens to be 200 years old. Anyway, very good. Every so often, when they have like those highly collectible music instruments, like some museum pieces may include a Stradivarius violin. Well, they don't just leave those things on the shelves. Every so often, they will find an accomplished musician like a, let's say, Lizzo or Isaac Perlman would play the violin on occasion, just so that it not only helps that item remain useful in that someone has actually used it, but it also brings much needed attention to places like the Library of Congress or the Smithsonian Institute or wherever these things are on display or stored. So that's what's going on here. Lizzo played. Um, oh, Mo Shannon, are you here today? Let me see. Oh, she's not. And Lydia's not here? How is that? Yeah. You know what? I didn't notice at first. No, Lydia's not here, is she? I mean, it just seems like she's always here, and I was just taking it for granted. Gosh, I hope she's okay. Wow. Okay, well, thanks for letting me know. I didn't realize. Well, I do know she usually works at this hour, and I'm on a little later than normal, so maybe that's why. But yeah, she's probably working right now. UK markets have lost 500 billion since Liz Truss took over. Stocks, bonds slumped following new fiscal measures on Friday. UK markets feel like the Wild West. Huh. Interesting. Interesting. I tell you, if it's anything like the US, you guys know that the US economy always does better with the Democrats. Even Trump said that himself. Donald Trump, before he decided to become a Republican, he said a long time ago, for whatever reason, the markets always seem to do better with Democrats. The economy always does better with a Democrat. So I'm wondering if the same goes for the British economy. Does the Labour Party actually fare better than the Tories when it comes to the economy? I'd be interested to know that. So, all right, and there it is. Gloomy September. Stocks, bonds have dropped since Liz Truss took over as prime minister. Now, remember, they always build up the prime minister. Only Liz Truss can save us. Only Gordon Brown can save us. They always do that. There's this expectation game, and then there is the reality. Okay. All right, there we go. And there you go. Pound drops more than 1% as Bank of England steps into bond market. Now, is it the IMF or is it the I think it was the IMF. Was it well, I don't know. But one of those like global financial institutions have actually warned investors about investing in the pound. This is very serious. And again, as I said, I only worry about the working class people. As far as I'm concerned, working class people are the true heroes of the economy, not the wealthy with all of their, big homes and luxurious boats and string of Peloponnes. I don't care about somebody's string of Peloponnes. All I care about is the working class people, and that is who is going to suffer the worst. So, I hope they get it worked out. I really do. This has nothing to do with how I feel about Charles or William and all that kind of stuff. They are inconsequential. They are, Charles just inherited a fortune and will pay no tax. So I don't care about him. I only care about the working class people who actually keep the lights on. So, really, really too bad. But Brexit, they warned people about Brexit. And the biggest search the next day after the referendum passed was, what is Brexit? That's a real shame. That's a real shame. But the tabloid media, the right wing media, which seems to be one and the same, they love to keep people afraid. And that fear of others, the idea that you can vote and keep those foreigners out of the country, was just so tempting to some people that they thought that they were buying into something that would prevent them from hearing a foreign language when they rode the bus or the train, only to find out that financially it was a nightmare in the making. So it's really too bad. It's like, why take something that's not broken and break it? If something isn't broke, break it. That is the wrong way to go with things. But that's what happened to the British economy. I remember paying a fortune just to breathe the air there, just to see this castle and that, this and that. And, if it was 28 pounds to get into Windsor Castle, how much do you think I paid? I paid probably what, 50 US dollars? I paid a fortune for everything I did. But now the economy has really taken a beating since Brexit. So while I would love to save money, I hate what this is going to do to working class people. Antoinette, as a young royal consort, was gliding, smiling disaster, much like Diana. Kate Middleton appears to have been designed by a committee and built by craftsmen, and with a perfect plastic smile and the spindle of her limbs hand turned and glossed varnish. So that is what oh my gosh, what is her name? I forgot her name all of a sudden. Hillary, help me out. Hillary, come on, Hillary something. Anyway, that's what she said about Dame Hillary. All right, I got that part. But Hillary somebody, Mantle, that's it. Hillary Mantle. That's what she said. Thank you so much, Louise. Mantle, whose latest novels are set in Tudor court, said she saw Kate becoming a jointed doll on which certain rags are hung. She added, in those days, Kate was a shop window mannequin with no personality of her own, entirely defined by what she wore, which is a shame because some of that stuff was quite um, anyway, defined by what she wore. Now, taking a cue from Hillary Mantel, I decided to go and start cutting and pasting. I was like, yeah, you're right. I do kind of see that. A mannequin, a shop window mannequin. I see what you're saying. Kate, Kate, Kate. Poor Kate. Kate with her clutch bag, which is really a band aid. It is for someone who is very insecure about their position, someone who has risen to the very top of the aristocracy, but yet lacked enough character to even work a real job, someone who never really worked, someone who has a vanity degree, someone who is in over her head. And so, in order to cope with this sudden position, someone who has become quite nasty toward most people, especially other women, and in particular, a woman of color. Someone who has obviously found their way to deal with things. Someone who sometimes we don't see for 30, 60 to 90 days. When I see that picture on the right, that's what I say to myself: 30, 60 to 90 days. 30, 60 to 90 days. Hey, have you seen? Oh, really? Not for 30, 60 to 90 days? Oh, that's interesting. A whole 30, 60 to 90 days. Well, she don't do much work, so we really didn't miss her anyway. The mean girl. The mean girl. And that probably explains why she's so mean, is because she just doesn't seem to have the right stuff. Like right here, you see that? I think that Meghan was too good to be true. This is Hillary Mantel again. She was a smiling face in a dull institution. She cheered the nation up to up no end. Abominable racism has been involved. People who say who say that's got nothing to do with it, well, they need to check their privilege. Now, that's Hillary Mantel saying that people who declare that there is no racism or that's not the problem, oh, she said you need to check your privilege. There's insecure Kate. Poor Kate. Now, this is a woman of 30 years old at least. And the reason why I noticed this and why I am making this comparison, whether it's fair or not fair, I really don't care. But I'm just saying that this person that they have built up, this is what she wore to Cardiff on her first trip to Cardiff 11 years ago, as was pointed out today, that it's been 11 years since Catherine the Great went on one of her first royal outings. She went to Cardiff with William. And just like Harry, uh, Kate was being introduced to all the realms as a future princess, or in this case, as the future Princess of Wales. And what's so odd about these photos is look at how happy William is. William is actually happy to be with her. William is happy to fulfill his role as the future Prince of Wales. They seem to actually have a connection back in, this was 11 years ago, so that probably explains it. But notice the clutch. See how she's clutching that bag? There's nothing she needs in that bag, but it's like a security blanket because she feels open and vulnerable. She doesn't feel like she belongs. The mean girl, deep down inside, the mean girl was way in over her head. So she had to turn mean to fit in because otherwise, those vulnerabilities would be even more obvious. So she clutches that bag for dear life. There's nothing in it. She's just clutching it. It's like security. And then there's Meghan, who was not much older than Kate when she appeared in Cardiff for the first time. Meghan just splashed onto the scene, full of confidence, well educated, um, also a self made millionaire. I mean, she managed to work as a working actress, something that's not easy to do for anybody. But she was on a television series for 7 years and had $5 million in the bank. She had a thriving social media platform. She had some of those, what do you call it, endorsements. She came up with a clothing line for one of the retailers in Canada. And in the world of philanthropy, the world of volunteering and such, she was well known as someone that you could depend on. Whether it was a soup kitchen or a trip to Africa to help provide water for a community, Meghan was there. So she emerged onto the stage full of self confidence. Like, for instance, take a look here. As soon as she jumped out of the Range Rover, she went running around the back of that Range Rover. I mean, it's just full of confidence. Look at how fast she's moving. You would have thought they were filming a Wesley Snipe movie as fast as she ran around that truck. But no, she's happy. She's self-confident. She knows who she is. And mind you, like I said, what was she, 36 years old here? Had she just turned 36? Not much older than what Kate was when she timidly walked onto the scene, even though she had been hanging around that family for 10 years before she got married. You know, this is like 21 years Kate has been hanging around that family, and she's no better off today than she was then, except for one thing. Now she's just mean, cruel, heartless. Doesn't matter who gets hurt. Don't really have any friends. The only thing you can say about her that is consistent is that for 30, 60 to 90 days, you can't find her. And there's Meghan, true to herself, confident, running around like they're filming an action movie. So that is just what I wanted to share with you guys. What a difference, right? Over 30 and terrified. Over 30 and self-confident. Over 30, haven't really achieved anything. Over 30 and has a Rolodex that would make a lot of executives jealous. So that's it, you guys. I was just being truly petty and truly loyal to the cause for the second half of today. But that's just how I felt. I saw this and I thought, wow, not much has changed except she's mean. And Meghan, still the same person. All right. Okay, so that's it for today. I'm done. That was all my slides. That was all the conversation I have. I will, of course, give love to our faves, and that, of course, is our Queen of Hearts, Princess Diana, and our Queen of Everything, Queen Doria. And, of course, I'll be looking for the last word of the day, as I so enjoy doing. And thank you all for participating. And I hope Lydia is okay, but I'm pretty sure Lydia is just probably busy working right now. And I will tell Mo Shannon that you, as a matter of fact, Mo Shannon is still grieving the loss of her mom, but she has watched the Royal Sussex and she misses you guys, but she's just, she needs to deal with some things for now. So, but she has been watching. Okay. I still can't forget the image of Mean Girl Kate not refusing to move so Harry and Meghan can get into the pew at the funeral. Yeah, that was the mean girl, the self-absorbed mean girl. Like I said, she ain't changed very much. She's just a meaner person. Um, Cruel. I would say cruel. Let me see. Oh, and by the way, Joan Garcia, I did receive your message. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it. Um, and sorry for the delays, but I have been busier than a cat covering up poop ever since, actually, before the Queen passed away. Anticipated having a busy fall because of the Sussex's fall rollout. And, well, things went into a whole nother direction, didn't they? So, you just never know. But anyway, I'll look forward to them getting back into the mix of things. And hopefully, that appearance that the Duchess of Sussex was supposed to make on is it the Tonight Show? Hopefully, that will still take place because you guys, she is going to promote the archetypes, right? And I think that this extra week that we go without the archetypes, it gives her an opportunity to promote it the way she was planning to do before the Queen died. So let's look forward to that. All right. Let me look at some more comments there. Lynette Roberts says, "Hi, Baron. I am working class and I have been for over 40 years. I am actually paying my daughter's rent every month because she is blind. Uh, what is that? She is blind. Energy has gone up 80% and is going up again on the 1st of October. Oh, my goodness, Lynette Roberts. Wow. Wow. That's a lot you have on you. And it's going up 80%? Do you live in the UK? I think you live in the UK, right? Wow, that is a lot. 80%. Yeah. Oh man. Like I said, you guys, working class people are the heroes of the economy. And I think the powers that be really take us for granted. They really take us for granted, and that is going to be to their detriment. It really is. That will be to their detriment that they take the working class people for granted. Because without a working class, without the middle class, you don't really have a country. You don't really have a country, not the one that you want. So, anyway, thanks for sharing that with us. Let me see. Women in love want their husband's attention. Kate doesn't care about Will can Will let me see. Will can egg all he wants. Doesn't care about that. Will can egg all he wants. Is that a double entendre? The egghead? Let me see. Oh, that's for someone else. Okay. I'm scrolling and looking. Sharon Davis says, everyone take care of yourselves. Please pray for the hurricane victims. Thank you, Baron. Yes, Sharon Davis, thank you for that reminder. We do need to pray for the hurricane victims because they are getting pummeled down there. And for those who did not leave when they were told to do so, I can understand that desire to stay, but my God, that's uh, this is the big one. They're like category 4 when it hits landfall, and that's not a good thing. That is, well, it really hammered um what is it, Cuba, and it's that surge of water that may be over 10 feet high that you really have to be aware of. And so many people live in areas that are only 2 feet above grade, 2 feet above water level. And with that surge of water, it can even go higher in some places. They're saying that some people that it will clear the over the top of their house. It will cover their house with water. That is scary to think about. Yes, they do, Baron. Once the United States was given the working class money, the rich were going crazy. Now, wasn't that the best thing about the pandemic is that suddenly people had some extra money? Some people have never had an extra anything, let alone money. And it was just like everybody got a raise overnight. I'm glad for that. Let me see. Connie Balmer says, Baron, thank you for taking the risk of trolls coming here by allowing me to be a part of my squatty family. Well, I'm sorry, Connie Balmer, um, we do things for family. You know that? That's what family is for. You do things for family. So we're glad you're here. And it's not a sacrifice. That's why we have moderators to deal with that. So we went a long time without the troll spray, and we can definitely do that for Connie Balmer. Right, we love you, Connie Balmer. And for 3 days, I was just like, "Where's Connie Balmer?" Okay, let me see. Oh my God, the Queen of Denmark just stripped her youngest youngest son's kids of their titles. Yeah. Well, if it's her youngest son, well, I tell you this though, B. Thomas, the Queen actually went out of her way to make sure that William's other two kids had titles before they were entitled to have them. So if the Queen can go out of her way to make sure that the other two kids receive their titles, then I am reasonably certain that the very least they could do is just leave the Sussex children alone. And William actually wanted Catherine to have the title princess long before the Queen died, but the Queen was very strict about that. She was just like, no, she can wait. So yeah, it was said that William wanted Duchess Doolittle to have the title princess before she was entitled to have it. And of course, again, the Queen said no. Yes for the kids, but no for your wife, because the Queen did not really care for Duchess Doolittle that much. And I think the only evidence that you need is the fact that the Queen spent very little time with Kate. The Queen spent very little time with Kate. She didn't have much time in her diary to spend with Kate. So that right there is a clear indication that she was not a fan of Kate Middleton. And when all of that briefing was done about Kate being lazy, the Queen said Kate should get a job. Did you notice there were no pushback from the palace? None. They pushed back a lot of things for Kate, but there was no pushback on that instance because the Queen was like, yeah, that's what I said. Yes, Baron, the Queen did, but I find it mighty strange for to do so around the time Harry and Meghan was dating. That is interesting, isn't it? Again, I believe William used a bit of coercion with the Queen. It didn't work every time, but it worked most times. And one way to demonstrate that the William used the power of persuasion with the Queen, I do have evidence of that. I'll show you right now. I have some amazing evidence of how William's power of suggestion with the Queen was effective. See that? That's an $8 million helicopter. Thank you, Granny. Thank you, Grandma. So William was more used to having his way than not. He got an 8 million pound helicopter. I thought he was sharing the one that the Queen used because, you know, the Queen so rarely use it. That is William's helicopter. The one that he takes his whole family, all three heirs on board routinely. That is their helicopter. Oh, and by the way, you guys, even though Harry may have been pushed down the list on the official page for the royal family, he is still a council of state and he is still eligible to step in on his father's behalf. That has not been removed yet. As far as I know, that has not been removed. So those little stunts that they pull on the royal website is one thing, but the law is the law and what's official is official, and Harry is still a council of state, and Harry and Meghan are still senior royals. They're not working royals, but they are still senior royals. They're not working in the capacity of a senior royal. They are not using their titles HRH, but they are still His and Her Royal Highness Prince and Princess Henry of Wales. They still are those things. Their agreement when they left royal duty was that we will not use our HRH titles for the purposes of commerce. They won't use it in trade, and they have not used it for the purposes of trade or commerce, but they still retain their titles, His and Her Royal Highness. Harry has not been stripped of his title. He has not been stripped of his birthright. As a matter of fact, according to the letters patent from George V, he is supposed to and always will be His Royal Highness. And because that is the case, his wife will and always will be Her Royal Highness. So unless they want to do something really drastic, that's just the way it is. They are not using those titles for the purposes of commerce. All right. I guess we're done, you guys. Thank you so much. Let me see. They will fix that tomorrow. I hope so. I hope so. Those were pre-Rose days. Okay, guys, thank you. I really appreciate it. I hope Duchess of Success is coming on later. Again, I made 3 videos last night. Go and check them out. And yeah, please do check them out, even if you've seen them already. But they're very short. So just in case you haven't, or in case something changed, sometimes I change things. But yeah, those are there. All right. Love you guys. Let's avenge ourselves out of here. And our last thought of the day is did I do that already? Let me see. Okay, our last thought of the day is look at Kate just waving. Look at that heifer waving. There you go. That's what Kate Herrera meant. She meant, look at that heifer. Look at her just waving. So look at that heifer just waving. Even though you didn't say it, it's implied. So, oh man. All right. Thank you for the last word of the day, Kate Herrera. And we shall ginge ourselves out of here. Go, Ginger. Go, Ginger. Anyway, once again, thank you, Joan, for contributing to my coffee fund. That was very nice of you. And you're right, it is the K cup. All right, let me see here. Those K cups are pretty good. I was like one of the last people to use the K cups, but they are amazing. I love those. Okay, let me see here. Still 1,000 of you here. I appreciate that. But I'm just looking through the last comments here. Are those cows? Was it something I said? Let me see. Oh, thank you, Joan Garcia. Thank you. Yeah, the channel has a matter of fact, where are we with subscribers? I didn't even check that today. But it was like halfway to 27 or 28, 27. Let's see where we are today. That would be interesting to see. Let me see. How do I get out of this? Oh, okay. Your channel. All right. Okay. Let's not get glitchy all of a sudden, computer. Let's not get glitchy all of a sudden. So right now, Royal Sussex has, come on, come on, come on. Okay, Royal Sussex has 26,875 subscribers. So if my math is correct, does that mean it's like 125 away from 27,000? Is that right? 875? Almost 27,000. That is amazing. And that one video, the one that went viral, right? With 2 million views. 2 million views. I still cannot wrap my brain around that. 2 million views. I'm just like, how did that happen? You know, that really happens just by chance. If you wanted it to happen, it wouldn't. 2.2 million views. 2,212,869 views with 95.3 likes. 95.3 likes. So, but yeah, it was some amazing like comments there, and then there were some that were just like, I don't know who this narrator is, but they're not British. They shouldn't be doing this if they're not British, and they sound black. And she doesn't know how to read. I'm like, wait a minute, she doesn't know how to read. I'm like, I can read. Oh man. I actually get a big kick out of some of those comments. It's funny to me. But yeah, especially the more hostile they are, the more funny it is to me. I mean, they're just like oozing with hostility. I'm just like, really? Really? Is that that's what we're doing right now? Really? Oh man, Baron Summer that follow Will and Kate are seeing the truth and crossing over. Thanks God someone put a spell on them. Well, I'm glad they're finally crossing over. I'm glad because I just oh man, I don't hate anybody. And I couldn't imagine myself waking up every day to hate. I could not what does it do for you to wake up every day and go and look for something nasty to say about a person? As much as I couldn't stand the Orange Menace in the White House, I didn't wake up every day and then go and watch Fox News so I can try to figure out what it is I hate about him. I didn't go to their channels so that I could figure out what is it I hate about him, or let me. Well, okay, I'll say this: during election time, when I turned that woman's face into a pig, now that was a low point for me because at that point I was messing with them, but um, but up until that point, I mean, most of the time he was in office, I just didn't care. But yeah, at election time, I saw that they were like going into the shall we say the more left-leaning channels and trying to create trouble. So I went into their channels and I, did what I do best. I turned people into pigs and dogs and other, you know, farm animals and such. So yeah, I handled my business. I'll say that. But up until that point, I didn't like go and like I don't go into any of those Cambridge pages or whatever they are. I don't go to their pages looking for anything. I don't care enough about them to do that. Everything I need to say about them is just right there up front and center. um, they're petty, they're jealous, uh, evil, mean, but I don't have to go over to their groups and tell them this because they know it already. And the reason why they know it is because they probably have mirrors and they look in the mirror and they see the same thing looking back at them: petty, mean, evil, dare I say, racist. All of those things are so obvious, so you don't have to tell them because they know who they are. But that they go and they watch a channel so that they could hate. We don't hate at Royal Sussex. We laugh at their expense, but I don't know that anybody walks around hating and hoping that somebody loses their life or something like that, or doubting someone's paternity or anything. I don't know that that happens on any of the Sussex friendly channels, but that is what they do. The more bad news, the better. So yeah, I'd rather laugh at them than to hate them. I could have fun laughing, but I would not like myself if I was walking around angry and bitter and hateful every day. It's just not worth it. I don't care enough about them to even do that. They're their own worst enemies, and I think faith, karma, whatever will take care of that. So um yeah. That's how I feel about that. But gosh, what a twisted um, population of people and middle-aged pensioners, MAGA people that just, oh, I just don't like her. It's just something about her. They don't know what they don't like, or either that, or they'll list like the troll that I had to block recently. Well, she doesn't care about her father, and um, she doesn't support her family. Never mind that the father, the brother, and the sister on her paternal side of the family, never mind that they were already like estranged from each other and the rest of the family. That's not the point. All of a sudden, they were supposed to have been so close because Meghan married a prince. And then all of a sudden, they have been trying to get in touch with her, trying to be closer to her, but she just, you know how Megs is, she just wouldn't hear of it. She's always been that way. When the truth is, they've always been that way. Um, Scamantha's own mother and Scamantha's daughter said on camera that she was estranged from the family. Nobody liked her, talking about Samantha, of course, that nobody liked her, that she only changed her name because, well, she changed it back to Markle because of Meghan being engaged. That is what the mother and the daughter said. Her own mother, her own daughter said those things. But the press, the tabloid press, want to gaslight the rest of the world into believing that there was something wrong with Meghan. I wonder how many times the N word was bandied about the Markle household in reference to Doria. I don't know how close I would be to someone who used the N word on my mother regularly, someone who referred to my mother as hired help. Oh, don't you know? That's the maid. Yeah, that's why there's this black woman hanging around the house. That's our maid. How insulting. So, yeah. But those people, they need to believe that. They need to think the worst of a woman of color. That tends to satisfy the narrative that perhaps they've grown up with, is that the women of color, people of color, they always want what we have. Even though they've never had it, they think we want something that they've never had. Like Dave Chappelle said, Trump isn't really working for you. He's working for me. He's not making you richer. He's making me richer. And that's what James O'Brien was saying about this whole thing with Brexit and the tax cuts for the wealthy. He said, they're giving me money I didn't ask for and taking away money from most working class people. That's what James O'Brien said. They are raining checks down on me that I didn't even ask for. And they are making richer people rich, and they're making poorer people even more poor, and or poor, if you will. And they're giving me money I didn't ask for, but you're going to vote for them anyway. That's insane. Oh, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Thank you so much for reminding us. But that's true. I don't. If I thought in any way or form that there was any type of hate coming from the Sussex squad, I would say so. But I just don't see that. We defend. We speak up. We go low when they go when they get low. We go lower sometimes, but I don't think we hate. So that's just the way I see it. Okay, you guys, that is my soapbox moment. I'm gonna make like a tree and leave. I'm gonna make like a banana and split. I'm gonna make like an egg and beat it. uh, Oh, thank you, Connie Balmer. I'm sorry. Why do I keep calling you Connie and calling Connie Joan? You know what? It's probably time for me to go. That's the second time I've called you Connie and called Connie Joan. Just as you say, smart. That's I'm okay. So yeah, it's probably time for me to go. All right, you guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching Royal Sussex. Thank you for being here this Wednesday. And look forward to the Sussex Fall Rollout 2022 2.0. I'm sure we are going to do it all over again. And this time, I don't suspect that there will be any unforeseen um, things happen, but if they do, we'll deal with it when it comes. But yeah. So yes. Okay. Okay. Bye, y'all. And broadcast.